Hey everybody, this is Sandgirl in my super modded 1710 world, and today I'm going to be showing you around my base. A little background, the base was originally a structure spawned in by the Roguelike Dungeons mod, and it was relatively close to my initial spawn point, so I managed to clear it out earlier on and use it to make my operating base. The area that I'm standing in right now used to have a staircase going up to a tower on the surface. I have since removed it since I used the tower for a different project. And as you can see, on this first level, there are three main branches. This first level is for more generalized things. The level below this, the second level, is for magic mods. And the third level I've used, which is at the very bottom, I put the portals for modded dimensions down there. So we're gonna start up here. The first thing that you'll notice is in this main vestibule, there is a basic mob spawner. Below my feet, there's a little room with a couple of skeleton spawners and some water flowing to a given point, and then from there, if we come down to this maintenance shaft, the skeletons will get pushed to this water elevator. They'll go way up and get pushed over until they drop down this hole. And by the time they land, they're usually one good whack away from being dead. This switch here operates a series of redstone lamps that are in the main spawning chamber. So if the switch is on, the spawner is off. If the switch is off, the spawner is on. And you'll see, if you notice on the mini-map in the right-hand corner, a couple of skeletons just spawned. And you'll eventually see them being pushed to the right, and then eventually being pushed back to the left before they drop right in front of me. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. I just want a couple for demonstration. Whoop, there we go. Hi, buddy. Kill him. The stuff gets picked up by the hopper and deposits in this crate for easy pickup. This is great for collecting mob drops and XP. I think that's all there was in there. This hallway is my main hallway that I use most often. Along the edges you can see there are some plants and crops, varying mod crops, vanilla flowers. I have my netherwort. And if we continue down, I have my basic vanilla crops. These ones I harvest completely by hand. And then at the end down here, I have my enchanting room. I have the Enchanting Plus mod, which means that I can pop in my tools and actually select what enchantments I want. It'll tell me how much it'll cost to enchant or repair. I can repair straight through the enchanting table. It's really convenient. I also have a tank of liquid experience that just drains out. So if I grab a few levels and I stand on this drain, it will suck the experience out into the tank. So I always have plenty of experience to enchant with, repair my tools with. And instead of using the vanilla bookshelves, I put in empty bookshelves from Bibliocraft, because I have mods that will drop books as loot, and this is where I keep them. One mod is the Lost Books mod, which just adds randomly generated books to your world as loot to be dropped or found in chests. And you can actually edit what books are available based on some config files. You can even write your own and put them in a config folder, and it will show up. Then I also have enchanting books and spells from the Electroblob Wizardry mod. And then right here I have the guidebooks for some of the mods that I have. And then if we come out and take a sharp left, I have my sheep. My sheep of many colors! I have one for each of the 16 base dyes. Most of them should be named accordingly. Green, light for light gray, white. This guy's not named because I had to regenerate the blue guy, so he still needs a name tag. Sky for the light blue, so I wouldn't confuse him with light gray. And so on and so forth. Orange, lime. Shears are handy if I need them. And across the hallway is one of my favorite redstone contraptions I made. And this isn't necessarily an original design, but it's my chicken farm, or as I like to call it, the Chickinator 3000M, M for modded. It starts up here with a dispenser full of eggs. The dispenser is attached to a redstone clock, so when I flip the switch, it shoots eggs out, and eventually the eggs will break and you'll get chickens. And the chickens all collect here and they will grow up. They'll lay more eggs, which drop into that hopper. And the reason this is the M model for modded is the hopper is attached to a crate and some conduits. And the conduits are from a mod, and so they run eggs back up to the dispenser. Now the crate down here is where I can access to get feathers and meat when I kill the chickens. The conduits attached to this crate have a filter, so only the eggs get taken out. So if I ever need eggs, I can just grab them out of the dispenser. And I'll usually wait for these guys to grow up and for there to be enough eggs to refill the dispenser before I kill them all and collect all the goodies. And if we continue back this way, I have a really simple sugarcane farm. And again, nothing redstone-wise is really original to me. They're all probably designs that have been developed before. But it's a simple piston sugarcane farm. You push the button, it deploys the pistons, they break the sugarcane, and it falls into a series of hoppers and comes down here. Across from there is my storage room. This is where I keep the bulk of my items, so they're ready for whenever I have builds to do. I have stone, wood items, metal ingots, gems and minerals, tools, weapons, armor, furniture, food items, plants, potions, fireworks, and books, miscellaneous modded items, and mob drops. And also, because of some of the mods, I am able to pick up spawners with Silk Touch, and so I have a collection of spawners ready to go. Because I don't always like to sort my inventory at the moment that I bring it to the sorting room or the storage room, I have this system of crates. It's really simple. They're just attached to hoppers. I drop items in here, and through a system of hoppers and crates, they get filled all the way down to this crate. And I chose to put a bunch of crates in instead of just hoppers so I can have high capacity and I can kind of let this sit for a while. And then when I'm ready to sort, I just pull stuff out of here. It refills from the stuff at the top. If there's anything that I have an excess of that I don't need, I just throw it in the transmutation tablet. But otherwise, then I bring the items up here, go to the appropriate section, and toss the items in their appropriate chest. Now over here, down the hallway, is just my personal quarters. Is it nighttime? It is nighttime. Gonna sleep the night away. This room was originally spawned as part of the dungeon. And so I've only made some adjustments. I think I added the cross beams and some furniture. I have workbenches that I use for the different mods. I have my record collection. And then if we go across, this is my smelting room. I have an auto smelter set up here. You just throw your goodies in here. They get smelted and come out here. And because I have infinite fluids mod, I'm able to get an infinite source of lava. So I just mainly use the lava buckets for my fuel sources. It's just kind of annoying having to refill all the buckets. But you do that. You throw them back in here. And you're good to go. That way I can save coal for crafting recipes or making coal ore to put in as decoration. Such things. So that's the main branch. And now we're going to come across this way. Go all the way to the end. This branch is a lot less crowded and not as commonly used. I have a room over here where I grow trees for the wood and the leaves. I used to have an auto smelter so that I could throw the wood in here and it would spit out charcoal, but since I use lava now as my main fuel source, this guy's kind of defunct and I can probably actually take him out. I have a chest with some of the saplings. I might actually put storage in here that's like a chest for each different type of sapling. And then I have all of the Natura berry bushes along here, so they are ready for whenever I need them. I used to have some portals down there, but those have since been moved. Then if we come over here, I have all of the Pam's Harvest Craft crops, tree crops, ground crops, water crops, everything. Maple syrup, cinnamon. For some reason, the cinnamon is still not generating. I used to have the same issue with the maple syrup, but for whatever reason, they don't generate on their own, so I have to bone meal them for right now. Although this guy started doing it, so maybe after I bone meal it once, it'll start generating. So I'll have to test that out. Then over here, this is my access up to the surface if I want to walk and not use my waypoints. And access down into the ravine. And noisy neighbor, who's always bringing his friends over. Let's see if there's any other. No, it's just him today. No friends today, buddy? No? Okay. Then in here is my potion brewing room. I have the traditional vanilla brewing stand set up, but I also have the Brewcraft brewing stand, which is really convenient because I can make like 12 potions worth at a time instead of just 3. I have ingredients up there, my trusty cauldron, and again because of the infinite fluids mod, my cauldron doesn't deplete. You can just scoop water out of it with a bucket or a potion bottle and it will just stay replenished. I have kegs over here that hold potions. Like this one has some potion of swiftness. These 6 potion types are added by the Brewcraft mod, and there's no recipe, like I can't look it up in the NEI to see, oh, how do I make a potion of haste? So I had to make a little book with notes on what ingredients make which potions. And I just keep it right there for convenience. And then over here we have the flux crystal setup. And right now I'm using it to get gas tears and glowstone. I need a lot of glowstone for builds. And essentially I just go through, I harvest the shards. Be faster with my sword. Pick them all up. And I just replant the seeds. And the seeds actually need an RF energy signal to grow. So I have them as well as all of the machinery hooked up to this giant capacitor bank, which is hooked up to the Stirling generator from Ender.io with a lava bucket fuel source. And then I just drop the rough shards in here. They go through the cutter, which smooths them out, and then to the refiner, where once you get enough built up, it'll generate one item, which then drops in here. And this auto smelter, auto generator that has lava buckets up here, and then they go through, they generate an RF amount, and then they deposit the empty buckets here for me to go refill. And then down this way, I have some rooms for some more basic crops, pumpkins, watermelons. This room I use to propagate the aquatic crops, or the aquatic plants, from Plant Mega Pack. Because every time you break one, you have a chance of getting 1 to like 4. So if I just continue... Oh, that one dropped 2. 1. 1. 1. Yeah, it's a fairly slow process. Like this time I only got 1 extra, and I go back through, I plant them. And then this guy goes in storage to be used whenever I need an immersed plant. Over here we have the Growthcraft cheese and wine room. I have my lovely cows that I use for gathering milk. They just always seem discontent. My collection of yeast jars, which are currently empty. Then I have a culture jar that's overheat, so it's ready to propagate more yeast. Again, always gotta have that cauldron around. Ingredients and materials are up here. These last two are empty, yep. And then I have my press for making grape juice and cider. Have the cheese press, have the butter churn. Over here are the brewing kettles and the fermentation barrels for making fermented drinks. And then over here are the cheese vats, conveniently tucked away, and the pancheons for catching the dripping fluid off of the cheese when I hang it. And then a collection of tanks for holding the random products that I make. This is my nether portal. I have not invested a lot of time in the nether yet. I do have plans for it in the future, but right now it's just there chilling, hanging out. Down this way I have some Growthcraft crops, grapes, hops, all the good stuff. And this is the immersive engineering corner. I don't really use immersive engineering that much. I think I only added it because of a couple of blocks. Grab that slag too. Just toss them in here. So that just kind of sits by itself. Then I have another room to propagate plants in. And I have my Growthcraft bees room. I have the bees all assorted here. I have all the machinery on this wall with Stirling generators to power it, a honey tank reserve, and crates to hold materials. Which one has the honey? That one has the honeycomb. Couple of notes just so I can remember what order the biomes go in. And then the beehive room. So I have the bee houses for forestry. Also, that's forestry, not growthcraft. And I'm not currently breeding any bees, but these are ready for when I do. And then I also have the growthcraft bee box, which I'm not going to open because when you open it, it makes this annoying buzzing sound. And this is a recent addition. Behind this wall is an automated mushroom farm. It's basically there are rows of, well, like it'll be a row where mushrooms can spawn, and then a wall, and then another row where they can spawn. And there's about 4 rows. And then at the end, at the far end, there are some pistons holding back some water. So after I give it some time, I just flip the switch, the pistons go down, the water pours out. Yeah, you can hear it. And it'll break any of the mushrooms that have grown in the pathways, bring them to a series of hoppers, and then drop them off in here. So this is the first floor of my base. And it's the most used floor. Obviously because of my storage, my auto smelter, those are pretty basic necessities. Go ahead and drop extra stuff in there. And now we're going to head down to the magic floor. And here we are on the magic floor. Really convenient elevator blocks from the Open Blocks mod. See, down this way I have my Ars Magica room with the altar for crafting spells. Different assorted workbenches and storage. Down here I have tanks of oil that was added by the Artifice mod, and I have not figured out if the oil actually has a function in 1.7.10, and so it just sits there. I really don't like it. If we go down this way into here, this is my main Thaumcraft room where I store all the aspects. I have my alembics, have some basic storage. This is for feeding this thing to get more aspects. Some basic storage, which I need to actually put more barrels there and then organize this into those. Then in here is where I'll have different nodes that I'll hold on to. So far I only have 1. This room is just for expanding into it if I need it. But over here is the altar room, or the Runic Matrix room. And right here it's just blocking off so that node doesn't power the machines on this side. So I'll just take that down when I need the node to work. Down at the end of this hallway is the Runic Inscriptions room. It's really simple. I have each of the runes saved here so I know how to draw the runes when I go to make them. I have supplies up here, and the bench, and the royal lilies, which I actually have to break and plant, and I think occasionally it has a chance of dropping 2. In here is Botania. I have not gotten very deep into Botania just because it's really dense, and those kinds of dense mods I need to spend a lot of dedicated time on at once so that I actually can track what's going on. The only thing I have set up is I know I can throw coal here. These endo flames will consume the coal, produce mana, and these mana spreaders shoot the mana into this pool. That's about as far as I've gotten. And here is the wizardry mod. Random storage. I'm going to have all sorts of wizard outfits along here. I have the spell books, one of each in order so that I can see which ones I still need. Like, okay, I need the one that's after ice shards. Spell books. Spell book? There we go. So I find it's an apprentice one. Check for apprentice ice shard. Ice shard, so I'm missing this guy. I have the workbench for adding spells and charging up the wands. I have the wands, and this is where I'll keep assorted scrolls. That's just an empty, rather large room where I test things out. Like right now I have a transportation circle that I needed to get the transportation spell from wizardry. And the final magic room down here is for witchery. Pretty basic setup. I have the crops over there, storage is along this wall, workstations are over here for making things, and then I have the altar there. I haven't quite gotten into the altar mechanics, so that's just on hold for right now. So that is the second floor of my base, and it's pretty empty. Just mostly right in here is where I have things. That area is all empty and abandoned. But for the final level that I use, we have to go down a few layers. Drop down here, find the next stairwell. Drop down here. Oh, there's the next stairwell. And this level I have set up for portals, although I'm starting to think this is kind of defunct because I'm thinking of getting rid of the Cave World mod, so I won't need the 5 portals that Cave Worlds adds. So it will just be the Atum, Twilight Forest, which you saw over there, and Between Lands. Those will be the only ones that I need portals for down here. And then the last little bit that I use, so if we come over here, I have a large empty room kind of set far away where I will do wither fights for any time I need nether stars. And like everything, I have waypoints set up through journey maps, so when I need to come back, it's just a click away. This has been Sandgirl showing you my base in my 1.7.10 super modded world. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, a like would be great. And I will see you next time.